The guy that's here for the people, that said he was here for the people, he needs to be here standing with us, and he needs to be giving us some respect. Mr. Ford needs to be here.
So clearly, with workers saying that, Premier Ford had to react to the GM news, and that he did outside his office here at Queen's Park today. Now, Ford claimed there was nothing he could have done to prevent GM from leaving, though the opposition point to the dismantling of green energy programs as one of the reasons why GM is ditching Oshawa. The Premier says the president of GM Canada called him Sunday afternoon.
The first thing I said to him, is there anything we can do as a province? Absolutely anything. And asked him numerous times, and the answer was no, there's nothing. Basically, the ship has already left the dock. They didn't ask for anything.
Not good enough, says the opposition.
The response should be, we're fighting for your jobs. We've been fighting for them day one, and they haven't been.
But was the Premier willing to offer up any money or incentives to keep GM in Oshawa?
Well, that's hypothetical. I asked him very simply, is there anything we can do? And I was shot down not once, numerous times.
So what is Ford's plan to help GM workers? The Premier says he'll send a so-called SWAT team to help employees get retrained and to get unemployment insurance. He's asking the federal government to lengthen EI for 5 extra weeks, and he's going to renew calls, he says, to remove tariffs on steel and aluminum. The whole situation is a problem for Ford, a Premier who's been eager to tout Ontario as open for business.
Gimmicks like signs on the edges of highways or the edges of borders that say we're open for business, a lot of loud talk about reducing corporate taxes obviously is not the answer here. It's a lot more complicated than that, than the Premier's gimmicks and slogans.
GM's announcement today had a lot to do with the restructuring being tied towards moving the company into more of a green company, more zero emissions. Yet the Ford government recently canceled green energy contracts and did away with subsidies for electric vehicles. I asked the Premier if he felt the province was open to green energy jobs.
Well, absolutely. What I understood from Travis, the president of GM Canada, this is a global initiative right across the board.
By canceling the electric vehicle rebate program, ripping up renewable energy contracts, and essentially saying Ontario's closed for business when it comes to the clean economy, that sends a signal to global investors that Ontario is not embracing the economy of the future.
It's like a caveman approach. You know, his science is back somewhere prehistoric. Companies like GM and the world are going in a certain direction. He's got the car in reverse.
To say we're disappointed is an understatement. It's an understatement that GM Oshawa was one of the best producing car companies in the entire world.
So will Premier Ford stop buying GM?
Well, you know something, that's a question that I can't answer right now because I have a car that drives me around. We have a GM car in our driveway. We have a Ford car in our driveway. We have an Audi in our driveway. So we don't look at one car company or another.
We also asked Ford if GM's other Ontario facilities in Ingersoll and St. Catharines are safe. The Premier says he has to take the automaker's word when they say that they are. Ford also said he's looking at if GM should pay back any money to the province. Of course, Ontario gave billions in bailout funds to the automaker. Coming up later in the show, what the federal government has to say about this. We're going to play you a pledge from Prime Minister Trudeau.